Good morning, students. Now we go to the third chapter, chemical bonding and molecular structure. In the first chapter, we can detailed discussion about the structure of the atoms, and in the second chapter, we discuss how many elements are present, how they are arranged, and their systematic arrangement, and how the physical properties varies in periods and groups. Now comes to the third chapter, chemical bonding and molecular structure. This is very important to understand so many properties of different compounds. We know that in the periodic table it is almost nearly 114 elements are present. Whatever are the matters are present in the nature, all the matters are made up of any one of these different elements present in the periodic table. And when we see these elements, they never exist as independent atoms except noble gases under ordinary conditions. How they are exist? Most of these atoms exist as a molecules. Molecule means which are aggregates of same or different kinds of elements. Sometimes some molecules made up of same atoms. Some molecules are made up of different atoms. But except noble gases, no other element exists as independent atoms. And when we observe, the properties of these molecules are different from one another, just like atoms. And these molecules sometimes exist as discrete molecule. Sometimes some compounds do not contain discrete molecules. Means, for example, when you see that water, in that water the discrete molecules are exist, that H2O, 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 like that, so many molecules are present. But when we see the sodium chloride molecule, in that one, in the sodium chloride compound, NaCl molecule does not exist. So in that one, the ions are present, that ions are arranged in three-dimensional pattern, which leads to one arrangement. Like that, each ion is surrounded by the other ions. But when we see the water molecule here, H2O, means H2O, H2O, like that discrete molecules exist. In some of the compounds, the discrete molecules do not exist. So that means here what we say that atoms, the molecules are formed by the combination of atoms. So no atom can ever exist as independent except noble gases. In some of the compounds, so these atoms are aggregated together to form the discrete molecules. In some of the compounds, the ions are present and these ions are arranged in three-dimensional pattern. So this is clearly indicates in all the cases atoms never combined in same way. They are combined in different ways to form different types of molecules, and these molecules are differ in properties from one another. So when we see this, that in some cases the discrete molecules exist, in some cases the ions are present and that ions are arranged in three-dimensional pattern. So some atoms combined with the more capacity, some atoms having that less capacity to combine. So some atoms do not combine, some atoms will be combined, like that so many questions will be comes to our mind. In that one, some of the important questions are, we say that the very first one, the atoms have no independent existence. They are always formed, okay, a group, that is we called molecule. What was the need to form in a molecule? Why do atoms will be combined? That is the question comes to our mind. And okay, if atoms are combined, why do certain atoms only combine whereas others do not? That is also will be okay observed when we see the large number of molecule. And what is the nature of, okay, when the atoms are combined to form a molecule, what kind of force exists between the atoms to form a molecule? And some atoms are having the capacity to 3, some atoms will be having the capacity to combine with 4 atoms, 5 atoms, 6 atoms. So all the atoms do not having the fixed combining capacity. The different atoms are having the different combining capacity. So why the two atoms have fixed combining capacity? Why this fixed combining capacity is different from one atom to the another atom? And after the formation of a molecule, all are do not have the same shape in the space. So the different molecules are having the different shapes. So why do molecules possess a definite shape? Why all are exist in tetrahedral? Why all are not exist in linear molecule? Why all are exist in V shape? So such type of the question will be comes to our mind. So to answer these questions, why do atoms combined? Why do certain atoms combined? So what is the nature of the force exist between the atoms in a molecule? So why do atoms have the fixed combining capacity? Why do molecules possess a definite shape? Definitely we need to study very clearly this chapter, the chemical bonding and molecular structure. So from that one we can easily answer for all these questions. So to answer the above questions, especially we need to be mainly stress on the nature of linkages between the atoms and the forces which makes such linkages. Once we can understand the nature of the linkage and the type of force which are operating between the atoms to form a molecule, we can easily answer all the questions. So whatever that force of exists between the atoms to form in a molecule, that is we call as a chemical bond. So chemical bond is nothing but the attractive force which holds together the constituent particles in a chemical species is known as chemical bond. So now here how this chemical bond formation can be takes place. So how the atoms are combined. To answer these questions, the different theories are proposed by the different scientists, and many of the scientists were trying to explain how the chemical bond form is between the two atoms or more than two atoms in terms of electrons. Because we know very well, okay, atom consists of an electron. So some electrons are present in the inner shell, some electrons are present in the outer shell. And when we are arranging the elements in the periodic table, we can find out, so the similar properties of the elements will becomes under one group. So the reason we can also find out, so the reason is the valency electronic configuration. So that means the valency electrons are mostly responsible for the bond formation between the two atoms. To explain this one, so many scientists were trying. Okay, in that one, in 1916, the two scientists were succeeded. One is Cossel and another one is Lewis. So how the atoms are combined? What was the need to combining the atoms? So that for that question, the answer was given by these two scientists. How do they answer for this question? So simply they can taken into the base is noble gases. The noble gases have the stable electronic configuration. So that is Ns2Np6. Because of the stable electronic configuration, they have no tendency to combine with each other or with any other element. That is also we can say very clearly in the periodic table also, the noble gases are called inert gases. They never react with any other atoms, or among themselves also there is no reaction, but they have a little tendency with like most electronegative atoms, fluorine or oxygen. That is also not under ordinary conditions. That's why these noble gases are having no tendency to combine with each other or with other elements. Why they have no tendency to combine? So we can say simply their electronic configuration is said to be most stable electronic configuration. So all the orbitals are filled with an electrons, 8 electrons. So fulfilled electronic configuration. The fulfilled electronic configuration always corresponds to maximum stability. So that's why they have no tendency to lose the electron or gain the electron. That's why their combining capacity is 0. That's why they are said to be monoatomic gases. That means the noble gases do not combine with each other or with other element. But when we see the other elements, so the difference between the noble gases and other elements, in the noble gases in the valency shell 8 electrons are present, that's why that is said to be stable. But whereas in other elements, okay, less than 8 electrons are present in the valency shell. That means these elements do not have the stable electronic configuration like noble gases. So that means like noble gases, these atoms are also try to become stable. In order to try to become stable, so what is that? Definitely they have to accommodate 8 electrons in their valency shell. So to accommodate 8 electrons in their valency shell, either they may lose the electrons, either they may combine gain the electrons. How they can lose? When once means it can lose the electron means definitely it can be lost to some atom. So it should be gain the electrons means it should be gain the electrons from other atoms. And that means whenever the atoms are try to combine with each other, so each atom try to get 8 electrons in their valency shell. When they are getting the 8 electrons in their valency shell, they become stable. So that means to become a stable or to achieve the stable electronic configuration, so the elements are combined with each other. So during the combining, each atom getting the 8 electrons in their valency shell, so by either losing or gaining the electrons, that is we called electrons undergo rearrangement. So here we can answer why do atoms combine? So the cause of chemical combination of atoms is very simple. That is, the atoms are combined because of getting the stable noble gas configuration. That's why the atoms always combine to form the molecules. So the first question we can answer here, why do atoms are combined? So the chemical combination of atoms is the reason to get the stable noble gas configuration. And so in that, so the Cossel and Lewis were first succeeded scientists. So what is Lewis' approach towards the chemical bonding? So first he was pictured the atom is nothing but is a positive charged kernel. So positive charged kernel means the nucleus plus inner shell, and we are excluded only the outer shell. Except the outer shell, the rest of the part it was treated as a positively charged kernel. And also he say the outer shell should maximum accommodate 8 electrons, and these 8 electrons are occupying the 8 corners of a cube around the positively charged kernel, that is atom. So that is in the case of a noble gas. Whenever these 8 electrons are occupying the 8 corners of a cube around the positively charged kernel, so that is represents the most stable electronic arrangement. But in all the atoms is it possible? Not. For example, if let us take the sodium having only one valency electron. This one valency electron can occupying only at one corner of cube. That's why it does not leads to the stable electronic arrangement. So to get the stable electronic arrangement, the sodium may lose one electron to other atoms so that it gets 8 electrons in their valency shell. That 8 electrons are occupying the 8 corners of a cube, so around this positively charged sodium kernel, and it leads to the most stable electronic arrangement. And that means here we say, so like noble gases, all the other atoms are also trying to get 8 electrons in their valency shell. When it is possible, so that atoms achieve the stable octet when they are linked by chemical bonds with some other atoms. And to get 8 electrons in their valency shell, so definitely, so we need the chemical combination between the atoms. So this is the Lewis approach of chemical bonding. Simply, what is it? First, you can take the atom. In that atom, the inner shell and the nucleus, it is treated as a positive charged kernel, and around that outer shell, should be maximum accommodate 8 electrons. These 8 electrons are occupying 8 corners of a cube around the positively charged kernel. That is leads to be the most stable electronic arrangement. This is possible only in noble gases. But whereas in other atoms, to achieve the stable electronic arrangement, definitely they need to be combined with each other or with other elements. So finally, they are also getting the most stable arrangement by chemical combination. So that is the Lewis approach. And also he was introducing one, that is the Lewis symbols. So what is mean by the Lewis symbol? So Lewis symbols is nothing but simply represents how many valency electrons are present in an atom. Generally here, so while writing the Lewis symbol, the symbol of atom, suppose if hydrogen, H we write, that H is clearly indicates whole atom except valency electrons. The valency electrons are represented with dots or either crosses. Where did you write? So these dots or crosses will be placed around the symbol of atom. So for example, you can see, you know very well the hydrogen. Hydrogen electronic configuration is 1s1. The valency shell is 1s. How many electrons are present? 1 electron is present. That's why, so first we write H on the above 1 valency electron is present so that it can be represented with 1 dot. Next go to helium. Helium electronic configuration is 1s2. So here 2 valency electrons are present. First we write the symbol of helium, He. So above the helium we write the 2 dots. And next comes to the lithium. Lithium, the electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s1. So here number of valency electrons are present only 1. So first you write the symbol of lithium and above that you write 1 dot. Like we can also write for the rest of the elements beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen. For example, let us see the nitrogen. The electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. In the valency shell, 5 valency electrons are present. That 5 valency electrons you can represent it with 5 dots. You can write the dots. So 1 dot is paired. So that is clearly indicates 1 paired electron is present. So like that, so we can write the number of valency electrons with the dot. The rest of the whole atom, that is a nucleus and the inner shell electrons are represented with the symbol. These symbols are called as Lewis symbol. So these are useful to explain the chemical bond formation between the atoms. And what is the significance of this Lewis symbol? So just now I said, so the first it is very clearly give the information about the number of valency electrons present in the outermost shell, because whatever the number of dots are present above the symbol, that is clearly indicates that number of electrons are present in the valency shell. And it is also predict the common or group valency of elements. So the common valency of each group is also can be predicted with the help of a Lewis symbol. So just now I said in the periodic table, the valency is nothing but number of valency electrons or 8 minus number of valency electrons. Here the number of valency electrons we represented with the dots, That's why the valency is equal to number of dots or 8 minus number of dots. For example, let us take the lithium. So in the lithium only one valency electron is present, its combining capacity is 1. In the beryllium, the two valency electrons are present, that's why its combining capacity or valency is 2. Boron is having the 3 valency electrons, so that's why its combining capacity or valency is 3. The carbon is having the 4 dots around the symbol of carbon, that's why its valency is 4. When it comes to the nitrogen, and the number of dots present around the nitrogen is 5, but all the 5 valency electrons may not be involved in the bonding in the case of the nitrogen atom. In that case, 8 minus number of dots, that is 8 minus 5, 3. The valency of nitrogen is 3. Oxygen is having the 6 dots because the electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. But the 6 valency electrons means here the oxygen never shows the 6 valency. Instead of it shows 6, it can be shown 2. How do you get the 2? 8 minus 6, that is 2. The fluorine is having the 7 dots around it in a Lewis symbol. That means its valency is never become 7. Its valency is 8 minus 7, that is 1. The valency of fluorine is 1. Like that. So we define that or we can calculate or we can predict the valency of each element either as number of dots or 8 minus number of dots. So like that, these are the two important informations we get from the Lewis symbol. One is how many valency electrons are present in that outermost shell of each atom can be predicted with the help of the number of dots present in the Lewis symbol, and also useful to predict the valency. So the valency may be calculated as number of dots or 8 minus number of dots. So this is the significance of the Lewis symbol and approach of Lewis towards the chemical bonding. And it comes to the another scientist, Cosell, is also simultaneously succeeded to explain why the atoms will be combined. So generally he was drawing the attention by observing the certain facts in the periodic table. So we seen very clearly in the periodic table most electropositive elements are present, most electronegative elements are present. The most electropositive elements are present in the beginning of that each period, and the most electronegative elements are present at the end of almost at the end of each period. And this is clearly indicates the most electropositive metals, you know very well, that is alkali metals. Most electronegative elements are halogens. And electropositive means they have a greater tendency to lose the electron. When they are having the greater tendency to lose the electron, what is the charge is developed? Positive charge is developed. So that means the formation of the positive charged by which one? Alkali metals. So like that, the halogens are having the greater tendency to accept the electrons. So that's why here the halogens are always forming the negative ions. That means the beginning of that each period, whatever the alkali metals are present, always they are forming the positive ions very fastly, and at the end of each period, whatever the halogens are present, they are having the greater tendency to accept the electrons. That means they have a greater tendency to form the negative ions. So that means the alkali metals are readily form positive ions, halogens ions are form the negative ions. And while they are forming the positive charge or negative charge, they immediately getting the stable electronic configuration, because to form the positive charge they have to lose the electron. How many electrons can be lost to attain till the stable electronic configuration of noble gas? Similarly, the halogens are also gain the electrons till it gain the stable electronic configuration. That means alkali metals are attain the stable electronic configuration by losing the electrons. So the halogens are attain the stable electronic configuration by gaining the electrons. So after that, the positive ion and negative ions are combined with each other after getting the stable electronic configuration. So now here these negative and positive ions are stabilized by the electrostatic force of attraction. This electrostatic force of attraction is bringing the two ions very closely, so that we called as here simply the electro uh, valency bond, or we are also called as the ionic bond. And that means here the alkali metals are readily forming the positive ions by losing the electrons. Halogens are readily forming the negative ions by gaining the electrons. When they are lose or gain the electrons, finally this is the process will be continued until the stable electronic configuration. Once they can attain the stable electronic configurations, and simply they are attracted or stabilized by the electrostatic force of attraction. This electrostatic force of attraction, whenever developed between the positive and negative ion, we say that the bond is formed between the alkali metals and halogens. That bond we call as here ionic bond. For example, let us take the sodium chloride. How the sodium chloride is formed? What are the constituent ions? Sodium and chlorine. When we see the individually, the sodium and chlorine both are not having the stable electronic configuration. That is 8 electrons in their valency shell. So, but to attain the stable electronic configuration, to attain the 8 electrons in their valency shell, the sodium can lose 1 electron. By losing the 1 electron, it attains the stable electronic configuration of a noble gas, neon. Similarly, the chlorine is having the 1 electron is deficient to attain the stable electronic configuration, so that whatever the electron is lost by the sodium, that is gained by the chlorine. As a result, it is converted into Cl minus ion. As a result, it gets the stable electronic configuration of noble gas argon. Now both sodium and chlorine, by losing and gaining the electrons, they attain the stable electronic configuration. So after that stable electronic configuration, the sodium and chlorine are attracted each other by the electrostatic force of attraction. As a result, a bond is formed between the sodium and chlorine. That bond is called as a ionic bond. So like that, so here sodium and chlorine are linked together by one of the chemical bond, that is ionic bond. To form the ionic bond, there is a transfer of electrons takes place from sodium to chlorine. During the transfer of electrons from the sodium to chlorine, so both the atoms, sodium and chlorine, attain the stable electronic configuration, that is 8 electrons in their valency shell. That's why here sodium and chlorine are combined to form a chemical bond that is called as ionic bond. As a result, they become stabilized by the formation of sodium chloride molecule. So like that, the Kussel was trying to explain the chemical bonding between the two atoms, and these two scientists were succeeded little bit to explain the chemical bonding between the atoms. That is especially why the atoms are combined. So what we here, the Kussel approach will be providing some important information. Here the bond formation takes place between the two atoms by forming the ions and by transfer of electrons. And whenever the transfer of electrons takes place from one atom to the another atom to attain the stable electronic configuration, so the bond is formed between the two ions, that is called as ionic bond. So that will be results into the formation of ionic compounds. And that means here how the ionic compounds are formed, that is also will be provided by this Kussel approaches of chemical bonding. And also it will be useful to understanding and systemization of the ionic compounds. And one more important fact is, that is, so it was recognized the fact that is most of the compounds did not fit into these concepts. And that means whatever the transfer of electrons takes place from one atom to the another atom, that will be results into the formation of a bond between the two ions. So such concept may not be possible in all the cases. In other cases, sometimes the other concept may be followed to attain the stable electronic configuration. So this is the concept can be explained, okay, by the Costello is only applicable for few, okay, compounds, but in most of the compounds did not fit into this Costello approach of chemical bonding. So this is the important information provided by the Costello approaches of the chemical bonding, that is how the ions are formed, how the transfer of electrons takes place, how the ionic compounds are formed, how the systemization of ionic compounds takes place, and whether it is applicable for all the compounds or not. So that is clearly we can understand from this Costello approach of chemical bonding. And anyway, whether we can see the Lewis approach or Costello approach towards the chemical bonding, in both the cases one fact is common. That factor is to attain the stability, definitely they should be accommodate 8 electrons in their valency shell. Then only they can get stabilized. So to achieve the 8 electrons in their valency shell, or to achieve the most stable electronic configuration, definitely they need to be combined with each other or with other elements. So while their combination, or while the formation of a bond between the two atoms, so both the atoms are getting the 8 electrons in their valency shell, both become stable by the formation of a chemical bond between the atoms. So that is can be predicted or tell in terms of a one rule, that is we called octet rule. That is, it states that atom must possess 8 electrons in its outermost energy level for its stability, or atoms combined either completely transfer of valency electrons from one atom to the another, so that is either by losing and or gaining, sometimes are sharing the valency electrons in order to have octet in their valency shell. So this is the octet rule. The octet rule tells about the stability of an atom. When the atom gets the stability, when atom possesses 8 electrons in their outermost shell, okay, so then they get its stability. So our atoms combined either completely transfer of valency electrons from one atom to the another atom. That means one atom can lose electron, one atom can gain the electron. Sometimes the sharing of valency electrons also will be results into getting the 8 electrons in their outermost energy level, that is leads to the stability. This rule is called as octet rule. So simply we need to be remember here, octet rule means atom must possess 8 electrons in its outermost energy level for its stability. This is a point we need to be remember while we are explaining a chemical bond formation between the two atoms. So once they get 8 electrons, okay, so there is no need to be transfer more number of electrons from one atom to another atom. Till getting the 8 electrons only we need to be transfer the electrons or share the electrons for their stability. This is the octet rule. So now in the today's class we can clearly discuss, okay, so the main the first question we need to be answered is here, that is why do atoms are combined? The atoms combined each other or is for getting the stability, because this is based on the noble gas configuration. The noble gases never combined with each other or with any other elements, because they getting the 8 electrons in their valency shell. That's why their combined capacity is 0. But when we see the other elements, 8 electrons are not present in the valency shell. That's why they are trying to achieve the 8 electrons in their valency shell. To get 8 electrons in their valency shell, definitely they need to combine with each other. How do they combine? Simply by the transfer of electrons from one atom to the another atom, or by sharing of the valency electrons between the atoms. They get 8 electrons in their valency shell. It leads to the stability. That's why the atoms, by combining each other to form the molecule, as a result both the atoms are getting 8 electrons in their valency shell. Both the atoms are stabilized. So here important parts in this topic, okay, today topic is that is last whatever we discussed, that is one is octet rule. The octet rule is it states that atom must possess 8 electrons in outermost energy level for its stability. So this is about the today's class. In the tomorrow, so how the atoms can be stabilized by the different bonds. So what type of the bonds are present between the two atoms, how those bonds are formed, that is I will discuss in the next class. Thank you.